In this video, I'll share one of the lessons from my course, AI Essentials for Office Workers. Unlike my usual content, which is for fine-tuning, training, and deploying language models, this is for those who are a little newer to AI. It's for those who want to integrate AI and save some time in day-to-day tasks, whether that's engineering, architecture, marketing, accountancy, or more. The course consists of 10 mini lessons, each of which is 3 to 5 minutes long and includes a task that you have to complete to ensure you have a grasp of the contents. All in all, with about 45 minutes of video and 45 minutes on tasks, you can get the entire course done within 90 minutes. With that, before diving in any further, let me share with you, to give you a flavour of the overall course, the very first mini lesson. The very first thing we'll talk about is privacy. You don't want a language model to be trained on data that you're feeding in. Not just because you're a genius, but if you put in private information like passwords or addresses, although it's not likely, it's possible the language model might later spit that out if it's been trained on the data. So here I am in ChatGPT, which is chat.openai.com, and I'm on ChatGPT 3.5, which is the free version. So what I'm going to do is go down and click on my username and then on settings, and then I'm going to go to data controls. And up here you'll see this is turned on by default, improve the model for everyone. So you want to turn that off because this means that your data won't be used to improve and train the models. Now, the data will be stored for 30 days, as I understand, and there are always some data security risks. So I would never recommend putting in any sensitive data to the chat box here. Just make sure you try and filter out manually anything you think might be a little bit sensitive. That brings us to our first task of today, which is to generate a short summary of a news article. I've just opened up today's news about the Taoiseach resigning, or at least resigning as party chair. And I'm just going to copy all of the text from here and see if I can generate a summary. Now, this is a really simple example, but I'll show you a technique that becomes powerful as you try to do more complicated things with language models. And ultimately, it revolves around laying out your instructions very clearly, in many ways as you would for a human. So here I'm going to say, generate a 3-bullet summary of the following news article. Now, I'm not just going to paste it raw, although that probably will work. I'm instead going to put in these little brackets here and say news article. And then I'll skip some lines and put in again, but this time with a / news article. And this is a way of structuring my inputs so that the language model really knows this specifically, starting here and ending here, is the news article. So I'll paste now that text in between. And while for this trivial example, it's maybe not critical, you'll find that if you feed in multiple pieces of information, providing these kind of structures that say, okay, here's the start of the text and here's the end, that really helps the language model to identify the snippets you're inserting versus the commands, like the command that I have placed right here. So with that, let's input it and we should get out a clean summary. And actually you'll see it's failed. So here it's saying it doesn't have access to this news article. So what I'm instead going to use is the edit key. So let's go down here and let's say a 3-bullet summary of the following text from a news article. And here we go, save and submit. And here we go with the 3-bullet summary. So it's over to you now. Just repeat that process and you can use some kind of structure just to indicate that it's the end of the text you're putting in and the start. Good luck. And that was one of the 10 lessons from the course AI Essentials for Office Workers. If you'd like to learn a little more, I've put a link below so you can find out all of the details. Now, if you're taking the course for a company, you will get a full detailed invoice, which can be helpful if you're claiming it back as an expense. And if you're a student, you can make use of the code STUDENTOFFICE, that's one word, STUDENTOFFICE, for a 50% discount. Last of all, there's a 7-day money-back guarantee if you feel you're not going to save at least 10 hours of time in the future because you've taken this course. Any questions? Let me know below in the comments. Cheers.